on the fringes of the vast Sawani Forest, nestled alongside the winding Sawani River. The afternoon sun cast a peaceful golden hue across the water. The forest was unusually quiet that day. Birds called in the distance, and a soft breeze rustled through the leaves. But amidst the calm, nature was silently setting the stage for one of the most unbelievable stories ever witnessed. Beneath the tall canopies of the woodland edge, a young fawn, barely old enough to navigate the world alone, wandered restlessly. Its legs were wobbly, its ears twitched with every sound, and its wide eyes flickered with confusion. It had lost its mother. How? No one could say, perhaps frightened by a sudden movement, or separated while foraging. Now it was alone. The fawn let out soft cries, "Ma, ma," hoping that somewhere its mother might hear. But the only reply was the soft gurgle of the Sawani River and the whispering trees. It stepped too close to the edge. Its tiny hooves, unsteady on the moist soil, slipped, and in one sudden moment, the fawn plunged into the cold water. The river was unforgiving. Rain from the previous week had turned the usually calm stream into a churning flow of muddy currents. The small deer struggled, its thin legs flailing helplessly. Panic overtook instinct as its head dunked below the surface. It gasped for air, inhaling muddy water instead. Its mouth opened in a silent cry for help. Its little body spun in circles as it was dragged further away from the shore. Every splash it made was a plea for rescue. It was then that fate intervened. Deep within the forest clearing, lying majestically near a shaded baobab tree, was Makoa, the lion. He was not an ordinary lion. Makoa had lived a life shaped by two worlds. Orphaned as a cub, he had been raised by a ranger named Isaac, who once worked to rehabilitate wild animals. Makoa was bottle-fed, walked on a leash as a cub, and learned the scent of humans before the forest. But as he grew, his instincts returned stronger than ever, and Isaac eventually released him into the wild, where he had now lived alone for years. Despite his return to the wilderness, something about human kindness had stayed with him. Makoa had learned caution, but not cruelty. He was a predator, yes, but one who did not kill without reason. His golden eyes watched the world with an intelligence that was rare. That afternoon, while drinking from the river, Makoa heard something odd, a desperate cry floating on the breeze. His ears perked. He raised his massive head and turned toward the sound. Across the water, almost halfway downstream, a tiny figure twisted in the currents. A deer, a young one. A lion's instinct should have told him it was prey. But something else surged through Makoa. This was not a hunt. This was something different. This was a life hanging on the edge, and a lion choosing whether to walk away or dive in. Without hesitation, Makoa roared and sprinted toward the edge. In one tremendous leap, he hurled his body into the river. The water swallowed him instantly, dragging at his mane and legs, but Makoa fought back. He swam like a beast possessed, cutting through the current with strength and purpose. His eyes locked on the fawn's struggling head, barely bobbing above the waves. The fawn had given up. It coughed weakly and began to sink, but just as its nose dipped beneath the surface, Makoa reached it. With incredible control, he extended his head, gently grasping the fawn by the back of the neck. His teeth held firm, but did not pierce. It was the same grip a lioness might use to carry her cubs. He turned, massive muscles straining, and kicked his hind legs against the current. Every inch toward shore was a battle. Every wave pushed back. But he didn't let go. After what felt like forever, Makoa pulled himself and the soaked fawn onto the muddy bank. The lion collapsed for a moment, panting, his flanks heaving. He let the fawn slide from his jaws and stepped back. The fawn lay still. Its ears twitched. It coughed again. And then, miraculously, it moved. Just up the hill, Lucas Bennett had just pulled his blue convertible to the roadside with his loyal dog, Bear, in the passenger seat. Lucas had been out for a drive to the countryside when he heard the faint cries echoing over the water. He stopped, trying to pinpoint the source. Bear lifted his head, ears twitching, and then barked sharply. Something was wrong. Lucas jumped from the car, sprinting toward the river with Bear close behind. As he reached the edge, what he saw made his heart stop. A massive lion, wet and panting, standing beside a shaking fawn on the bank. Lucas froze. Bear stopped, growling lowly, instinctively protective. But the lion didn't move. It looked at them once, blinked slowly, and then turned. With slow steps, it disappeared into the trees. No roar, no threat, just quiet understanding. Lucas ran forward, dropping to his knees beside the fawn. Bear trotted behind, his bark softening into a whine of concern. "Hey! Hey, little one," Lucas whispered, carefully lifting the soaked, trembling body into his arms. The fawn's chest rose and fell rapidly. Its fur clung to its frame. "You're okay now. We've got you." He took off his jacket and wrapped it around the shivering animal, carrying it back to the car. Bear jumped in the front seat, keeping watch as Lucas laid the fawn gently across the back seat, then rummaged through the trunk for a towel. Bit by bit, he dried the little body. The fawn's breathing steadied. Lucas drove home with determination. He lived in a small wooden house atop a grassy hill not far from the forest. When they arrived, he placed the fawn on a soft towel near the fireplace. Bear lay beside her, tail thumping slowly. Lucas warmed some milk and gently offered it in a bottle. The fawn hesitated, but after a moment, she accepted it. Lucas smiled. "You're a fighter," he whispered, stroking her soft head. "You deserve a name." He looked at the white dots still visible on her back, despite the soaking. "Dottie," he said. "You'll be Dottie." In the days that followed, Dottie began to heal. Each day brought progress. First, she stood. Then she took a few steps. Then she began to follow Bear around the backyard, fascinated by every flower and bug. Bear, for his part, accepted his new companion with surprising gentleness. He showed Dottie how to sniff tree trunks, dig shallow holes, and chase butterflies, though she never quite understood the point of that last one. Lucas took them for walks every morning in the nearby park. Locals began to notice the odd trio, a man, a dog, and a deer, and soon Dottie became a local legend. But as the days passed, Lucas knew one truth could not be avoided. Dottie wasn't a pet. She belonged to the wild. She had a mother out there, and it was time to try and find her. Lucas studied a detailed map of the Sawani River and marked areas where deer were frequently seen. He planned the route carefully. Then, on a warm, sunny morning, he packed a car. Dottie curled up in the back seat. Bear sat up front, alert as ever. They drove in silence. As they reached the stretch of river where it all began, Lucas turned off the car. Dottie stepped out carefully. Her ears twitched. Her nose lifted. She sniffed the air as if searching for a memory. Then, from the trees beyond, a shape emerged. A large female deer, tall, lean, her eyes wide with tension, stood just at the edge of the woods. She didn't run. She simply waited. Dottie froze. Then something unspoken passed between them. The fawn ran, her steps growing stronger with each bound. She rushed into her mother's side, pressing her small head into the older deer's chest. The mother licked Dottie's forehead slowly, trembling. Lucas watched, heart heavy, tears brimming. Bear sat beside him, tail wagging once. Lucas smiled and exhaled. "We did it, Bear. We did the right thing." Dottie turned back once. Her eyes found them, Lucas and Bear standing together, watching quietly. There was no fear, only a glimmer of gratitude, of love. She didn't speak, but that final gaze said everything. "Go live," it said. "Go be wild again." The deer turned, and then, slowly, silently, Dottie and her mother disappeared into the green shadows of the forest. Lucas stood there for a long time. He didn't see Makoa watching from afar, hidden behind thick brush. The lion had returned to the place where it all began, not to interfere, but to make sure. And when Dottie vanished into the trees, Makoa lowered his head, turned, and walked away again. Somewhere deep in the forest, the wind stirred gently. Life moved on. But in the heart of the Sawani River Valley, a story was born. A lion, a man, a dog, and a little deer who lived because of something greater than instinct. Because of mercy. Because of love. Because one creature chose to act not like a predator, but like a protector. And sometimes, that choice makes all the difference. Thank you for watching this unforgettable, true-to-nature story of courage, kindness, and second chances. If this story moved you, be sure to hit like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more heartwarming animal stories.